Good morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone is doing well on this Thursday morning. Massive show to bring you guys today. But before we jump into that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on the video, give it the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get straight on into it. On the show this morning, we're going to be reacting to a story saying that apparently Martial has been banished from first team training. Obviously, I'll be giving you my thoughts on that. We'll be talking about that, of course. We'll also be talking a little bit about Qatar apparently furious over Glazer lies in the recent SEC filings, which is the Securities and Commissions Exchange Commission in America. We'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about some news which I haven't seen anybody else talking about that's gone completely under the radar. It's in the Times newspaper this morning, and it is in relation to a clause that's apparently been inserted into the Glazers' potential sale to Jim Ratliffe. So we'll be talking about that, and it's pretty crazy. It blew my mind when I heard it this morning. And also we're talking a bit about Karim Benzema, a bit about some players that might be coming in January, people that might be going, all of the usual good stuff. As always, I invite you to have your say on all things Manchester United in the comment section below. So let me know your thoughts, how you're feeling, get your thoughts in, and get involved in the show. Right, let's start the show off with the story about Sheikh Jassim. So obviously, for anybody who missed the show last night, Sheikh Jassim is apparently now come out saying that he is seeking a corrective statement. That's the word that's being listed. It says Sheikh Jassim's team are now seeking a corrective statement from the Manchester United filings on the SEC. It says sources close to Jassim's bid team say the filing, which has been made by Manchester United unilaterally without consulting or having to verify with other parties, refrains from disclosing the most basic and irrefutable facts, both about the financial guarantees and the legal offers made, all of which are fully documented. Inquiries are being made with the SEC as to a corrective statement of fact. It also then goes on to say it is also curious to note the widespread media reporting of the inflated level of the other competing bid at the time, obviously Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid, and how that stacks up to reality today. So, in simple terms, Sheikh Jassim's team are unhappy with what Manchester United has officially reported about their offer. They claim that their report left out important facts about the money they promised and how much they offered. They are now talking to the US Securities and Exchange Commission, also known as the SEC. If you've ever watched, some of those big American programs, you'll see them talk about the SEC in there. They want them to correct the information. They also find it strange that the media reported a much higher offer from Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and they're now questioning how accurate that report was compared to the actual situation we're in now. I mean, it's absolutely mad that this is going on. It really, really is, and I'm glad that Sheikh Jassim. I'm glad that Sheikh Jassim is coming out and doing it. Whether or not he's right or wrong, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not involved in the buying and selling of Manchester United. It's not like I was a fly on the wall in the negotiations. But what I can say is, I don't know why he would try and seek for the statement to be corrected if he was making it up. But anyway, that's all hearsay. Who knows? Obviously, we'll keep you updated on that situation. The headline is, though, that Sheikh Jassim is not happy whatsoever with what has been posted on the Securities and Commission's filing about the takeover. Right, let's talk a little bit about this story that came out on the Times today, because this has gone completely under the radar. And this is going to shock... Well, I say it's going to shock some of you. It probably won't actually shock any of you, because most of you will have expected something like this to come. But so this is coming out from the Times, from the chief sports reporter, Martin Ziegler, as well as Matt Lawson, who is the chief sports correspondent. So the two top people in the Times newspaper here in the UK. And they're reporting that the Glazers can apparently force Jim Ratcliffe to sell his Manchester United stake in 18 months. It says the Ineos chairman could make first offer, but if the majority owners decide to sell the club, they may choose another buyer who is willing to pay more. So what this all means is, apparently there's been a clause inserted in the contract with Jim Ratcliffe that says in 18 months' time, the Glazers can effectively sell their shares as well as Jim Ratcliffe's shares. Obviously, he'll still get the money for it. It's not like they're going to take the money off him, but they can effectively force Jim Ratcliffe to sell his shares. without him saying yes or no. He would have to sell them if the Glazers say they want to sell their shares. Now, people are probably a little bit like, I don't really understand what you're saying. So, in short, if, I don't know, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, one of these big Middle Eastern owners wanted to try and buy Manchester United, in 18 months from now, they could contact the Glazers and say, we want to buy the club off you. And then the Glazers have this contract with Jim Ratcliffe, which would force Jim Ratcliffe to sell his shares as well. So most of you will probably see this as a positive, because it ultimately means that if the Glazers get another offer in the future that they want to accept, they would also legally be able to force Jim Ratcliffe to sell his shares as well to one owner. So, I mean, in some ways it's quite good, but I just think at the same time, if I'm Jim Ratcliffe and I know that this is hanging over my head, that it has to be after 18 months. There's 18 months where they can't do this, but after 18 months, the Glazers can effectively force Jim Ratcliffe to sell his shares. Now, if I'm Jim Ratcliffe, I'm thinking that's just going to be hanging over me. I mean, what level of investment are you going to want to put into something which you might only be able to own for 18 months? Is he going to spend hundreds and hundreds of millions on the playing squad when in 18 months the Glazers could say, we're selling the club, your shares are also going to be sold? Like, I don't know, is the simple answer. I mean, from what this story says, obviously Jim Ratcliffe would obviously be paid for his shares. So it's not like, they're going to steal his shares off him. He would still be paid for the shares. But, imagine if Jim Ratcliffe comes in, he spends loads of money, and then the club does even worse next season. The stock price is only going to go up if we start actually succeeding. I mean, what's the stock price at today? Let's have a quick look. Like, I don't think in a year's time the stock price is going to be double unless we are winning Champions Leagues, winning Premier Leagues, which realistically we're not. Yeah, I mean, the stock price now is at about $20, which is obviously a lot more than what it was when the takeover news started. But it hasn't. I mean, before the takeover started, it was around about $13. So it's gone up about $7 in that period, which is quite a lot. At one point, it was as high as about $26 back in I think it was May last year, when it looked like Sheikh Jassim was going to win the club. But yeah, I just think all of these little bits of information really interest me because I haven't seen anybody else speaking about it. I haven't seen it on Twitter anywhere. I did see Sky Sports do a video about it, which I watched and I found really interesting. But the headline is, the Glazers, after 18 months of Sir Jim Ratcliffe being here, can effectively force Jim Ratcliffe to sell his shares. Yeah, quite strange, really, but I don't know. Let's see what people are saying in the chat this morning. Jay says, let's make a poll for when you should be doing the show. I think the previous time was better. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've changed the time to 11 a.m. To be completely honest with you, like in the winter, my body naturally, I seem to wake up later. I go to bed later and wake up later. Whereas in the summer, I would be waking up at like 6 a.m. in the summer every day. For anybody who doesn't know, I work from home. I work for myself. Like this is just a kind of passion project. I run another business that I do full time myself. So I don't have to be in an office at like a certain time, let's say. But in the winter, I wake up about 8:30 naturally. And I don't like, if you run your own company or whatever, one of the things that I really like about that is that you manage your own schedule. So for me, like setting an alarm every single day, people might say like this sounds pathetic, but I'm just explaining the situation. In the summer, I would wake up about 6 a.m. naturally, and then doing a video at 8:30, 8 a.m. was perfect, But the last couple of months prior to changing the show time, I'd be waking up at like 8:30, and I was supposed to be starting my video at 8:30, and I would literally come out of bed and go straight from bed without even like washing my face straight onto a video, and it wasn't a very good thing for me to do mentally. And I think I do this for fun. I do this because I enjoy speaking to you guys, and I want to make sure that I'm like 100% in the right headspace when I start doing the videos. So doing it at 11 a.m. is kind of just better for me at the moment. But I would say in the summer in the UK, I probably will go back to the other time. But for now, I'm just going to keep doing it at 11. So yeah, just explaining that to the person in the chat. I know people will say, oh, well, I prefer it earlier. I get it. Like, I know it's confused people, but yeah, I've got to do what's right for my own kind of mental being. Lumen says, Kieran, bro, you're waking up later than Sancho. Yeah. Well, there you go. Anyway, let's move on with the rest of the show today. Let's talk a little bit about Anthony Martial. Now, I don't know why we're still even talking about Martial, to be honest. I think, like, God, I just want him to go, to be honest. I just want him, to go. The headline this morning is that Martial has been exiled and forced to train on his own by Erik ten Hag after failing to regain fitness after illness. Now, just to be very, very clear, right? Martial is not injured. He's not even fit enough to train with the first team. I mean, that's embarrassing. A professional athlete on £250,000 a week, and he doesn't have the willpower and the drive to be able to do his job, to be able to, get his body in a position where he can effectively take part in training with other professional athletes. We're not even talking about being available for matchday squads. He's so far behind his fitness levels that it's not even safe for him to train with the rest of the team. So as a result of that, Erik ten Hag has effectively banished him from the first team training, and Anthony Martial is now training alone at Carrington until he gets his fitness level up. I mean, people are saying, "Oh, get rid of him, get rid of him." I mean, what club in their right mind are going to bring in Anthony Martial at the moment when you see stories like this? Like, I definitely wouldn't if I was, Fenerbahce or Galatasaray. Would you really be like, let's go and bring in Anthony Martial when he can't even motivate himself to get fit? I just think it's embarrassing. I really, really do. Yeah, but let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Erik ten Hag is treating Anthony Martial unfairly? Like, what do you guys think? For me personally, I just think he's waiting until the summer so he can leave for free. He'll get a big paycheck from somebody, a massive signing on bonus. Al says Martial doesn't care. He wasn't playing. He was warming the bench anyway. Fran says, I don't trust Erik ten Hag. Look at Sancho now, and apparently he was unfit before. I'll be honest with you, mate. Jadon Sancho has played one game against bottom of the league in the Bundesliga. He played for about 20 minutes. Even in that game, he was walking around, not really doing much. He got an assist. Like, the bottom of the table Bundesliga team is probably the equivalent of like League One, League Two side in England. Let's be honest. Like, they are so poor. They probably... Do you think that's a fair comment? I just think that to say, oh, look at Jadon Sancho now, he's shining in the Bundesliga. Like, really? I disagree anyway. Obviously, if you guys think that he's shining after playing 15 minutes and getting an assist against a team that probably wouldn't even make it to the Championship in England, like, I wouldn't call that shining personally. But obviously, if you guys think that's shining, then that's obviously completely fine. That's up to you. But for me personally, if he goes and does that against Bayern Munich and plays for 90 minutes and he's pressing and he's, looking fit and trying really hard, then great. I'll retract my statement. But the likelihood is that probably isn't going to happen at this point, is it? They were playing against Darmstadt. Darmstadt are currently sat bottom of the Bundesliga on 10 points. They've got 10 points in 17 games. Their highest... Let me just have a look. In the summer transfer window, they spent 3 million euros on players. I mean, that just shows the level of what they are as a team. I don't recognise a single one of their players, to be honest. Their top arrival in the summer transfer window was Christopher Clara for 2 million euros, and they signed him from the second division Bundesliga team, so the second division German team. That was their biggest transfer of the summer. And we're saying that Jadon Sancho is shining in the Bundesliga. Like, for me, that isn't shining. That's playing against a squad that, as I said, wouldn't even get into the Championship in the Premier League in England. So yeah, that's my take on it. They've got minus 24 goal difference. Kay says, Kieran, do you think we'll sign anyone in the January window? We'll talk about that in a minute. I would say it's 50-50 at this point. Obviously, Pelistri's gone. Alvaro Fernandez is gone. Donny van der Beek's gone. A couple of others have gone. Like, we should have some money to be able to bring in some people, realistically. Hannibal's gone. Like, we've got rid of 4 or 5 people who are all being paid by us. That should allow us money to then use those wages to go and get someone on loan at least, If you get rid of Hannibal's wages, Donny was on about 100 grand a week. Alvaro Fernandez, I mean, he was probably on let's have a look quickly. Let's have a quick look. Manchester United wages. Let's see how much money we've saved in wages so far this window. Because I think that's important, People saying, are we going to sign anybody? Donny van der Beek was on 120k a week. Hannibal was on 5k a week, so that's 125 total. Obviously, Reguilon's gone back. he was on about 50k a week. We've saved probably, I would say, anywhere between 2 and 250 grand a week in wages based on the people we've loaned out and the people we've got rid of. I mean, that's a massive amount of money, isn't it? 200 grand a week. You could easily get someone on loan for that. You could easily go, we could have got Timo Werner. Not that I think Timo Werner is very good, but he was probably the best option available at that time. Do I think Man United will sign somebody? It all depends on what options become available to us. Obviously, we're linked to Moise Kean. We are linked to Benzema. The thing with Benzema, right, is I think Benzema would be a good option at Manchester United just because he's obviously one of the best strikers in the world over the last kind of 10 or 15 years. I think he'd be a quality player. But when you look, he's on £2 million a week, and I've just worked out that we're saving about 200 grand a week from the players we've got rid of. Like, how is that ever going to happen? You know, Benzema's being paid 10 times the amount at Ratliffe. Sorry, where does he play? He plays in the Saudi League anyway. He's being paid 2 million a week in the Saudi League, and we've removed 200 grand a week roughly in wages this window. Like, it doesn't add up. Where are we going to get the other 1.8 million to pay him from? So the headline this morning is that apparently Arsenal and Man United are both looking to bring in Karim Benzema. I mean, realistically, if Arsenal have any hope or any ambitions of winning the Premier League, then they should bring in Karim Benzema, realistically. And I know it's a hell of a lot of money, but imagine how much money you'd win for winning the Premier League. Whereas at the moment, we're 7th in the table. We are 8 points off 4th place. 4th place have a game in hand. So if Arsenal win their game on the weekend, we will be 11. We will be, let me work that out quickly. Yeah, we'll be 11 points off top 4, having played the same amount of games. We're not going to get top 4, are we? Arsenal would have to lose 4 games for us to, or draw, and we would win, and all the rest of it. And even Tottenham are on the same points as Arsenal, and West Ham are above us, and all the rest of it. Unless, someone like Aston Villa has a massive drop-off and loses the next 10 games in a row or something. I mean, even then, when you look further down the table, right? Brighton are 1 point behind us, Chelsea are 1 point behind us, and Newcastle are only 3 points behind us. I mean, even Wolves are only 3 points behind us. We're only 3 points off being 12th place in the table at the moment. I think the realistic ambition for this season has to be either 6th or 5th. Some of you would say I don't even want 6th or 5th. I don't want Conference League. I would settle for the Europa League because I think that probably is our level at the moment. And I just don't want to not have European football. I enjoy watching Manchester. Do I enjoy watching Manchester United? I had to think about that for a second. I'm telling you that I enjoy watching Manchester United. I like the idea of watching Manchester United, let's say, and I would be disappointed if next season we're only playing 1 game a week. I like watching football on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Thursday night, and for us not to have any European football would be terrible, wouldn't it? Yeah, let me know what you guys think. If we weren't to get top 4 this season, would you be happy with 5th or 6th? Would you be happy with Europa League or Conference League, or would you rather just have neither and have a season next year like Tottenham have this year, where they have no Champions League or Europa League? They're just focusing on the Premier League. What would you guys prefer? I'm a little bit 50-50 at the moment. I think Man United as a club need to be in the European competitions, because if we're not, we're going to really struggle to bring in players and stuff. And if we did bring in players, it would be people just coming for the money, Sean says top 5 gets Champions League spot. That depends on multiple different factors. We don't necessarily get Champions League in 5th place, mate. It depends on how far the other teams in England go in Europe. Obviously, Newcastle are out. We're out of Europe. So we've massively shot ourselves in the foot there. If Liverpool were to win the Europa League, West Ham were to win the Conference League, and West Ham are in the Europa League, aren't they? Who's in the Conference League? All right, Liverpool win the Europa League, say, okay? I think Brighton are in the Conference League, aren't they? Let's have a look. So, yeah, I think Brighton are in the Conference League. So, say Brighton win the Conference League. West Ham win the Europa League, or Liverpool win the Europa League, and Man City or Arsenal or whoever win the Champions League. I think then 5th place would get us Champions League. But there's so many ifs and buts there. It all depends on other clubs succeeding. If Liverpool, Man City, West Ham, Brighton all get knocked out in the next round, then we're not going to get Champions League by finishing 5th. And I think, yeah. Andy says we need Europe to generate income to buy players. Yes, I agree. A. France says yes, Europa League. Garnacho is a bench player and Sancho is a player for Champions League football. Relying on Garnacho will be settling for Europa/Conference League. I disagree with you, mate. I think Sancho is... I think Garnacho is going to be one of our best players over the next kind of 5 years. He's only 18 years of age. And he's probably the only player in that squad at the moment who really, really gets me off my seat, to be honest with you. But Andy says we've still got Brandon Williams that we can't sell. I think from what I've heard, Brandon Williams is doing quite well at Ipswich. And obviously Ipswich are quite high up the table, aren't they? Are they second at the moment, Ipswich? Let me just double check. Yeah, I mean, Brandon Williams has played 15 times in the Championship this season. He scored 2 goals from left-back position. Yeah, he's doing well. Obviously, Ipswich are having a really, really good season. So you just have to hope that in the summer, Ipswich want to buy Brandon Williams on a permanent deal. It does look like Ipswich are second in the table. They are on 58 points. So, yeah, we'll have to hope that happens. I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. I will be back this evening about 6 p.m. UK time. Please do me a small favour. Like the video before you go. Subscribe if you're new. Have a good day, everybody. This has been Daily Red Devil. I'll speak to you all later.